Okay, it looks like we are up and running, and hopefully my sound is coming through okay. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but hello, and welcome to Gintendo number 44. I'm Jeremy Parrish, and this is Boktai, The Sun is in Your Hand, Bokura no Taiyo, by Konami, and I'm going to be playing it. Even though, as you can see from this exposition here on the screen, this is a game that is designed to be played in sunlight. But of course, I can't do that right now because there's a pandemic happening, and we're not allowed outside. Although I see people out in the neighborhood, which is very bad of them. But anyway, it's difficult to stream a video from outdoors. So I've achieved magic, witchcraft, etc., and will be streaming an actual cartridge from development hardware, and I have a UV-based blacklight here that is going to activate the solar sensor that's built into the game system, the game cartridge, sorry, and yeah, basically we're going to see if this works. I think it should. I did a little bit of a test run, and I can get at least 3 bars of sunlight, so that's enough to play the game. As you can see, this is a very old cartridge of mine. This is the cart that I bought back in 2003 when the game launched, and played it through, beat it, then got a little ways into the hard difficulty, and realized I hate being outside. So yeah, never really followed through with that hard mode. But we're going to start a fresh game, and we're going to have a cool dude named, not Django, we're going to name him Jin Go. Yeah, there we go. Not Django, Solar Boy Jingo. And wow, here I am, Raleigh. Fantastic. Oh, I see. You can do different difficulty levels. Let's go normal. I don't think I'm going to be getting to any hard puzzles. Let's see. It looks like people are able to hear me okay, so that's good. The visuals look a little bright. It's kind of washed out, so I'm going to see if I can tweak the brightness a bit. It's actually not set to be unusually bright, but hopefully this will look a little better. So we're going to jump in and get going.
In a place not too far from here and now, the end of the world approaches.
So a guy named Furhound says this is pre-recorded, but as you can tell by the fact that I am calling you out here, Furhound, this is not pre-recorded, this is live. No, I am playing here right now. I have no bars of sunlight. If you could see my game happening, because I have my lamp off. I have to put this UV bulb really close to the cartridge. So basically, the cartridge can register up to 8 levels of sunlight, and it's reacting to ultraviolet radiation specifically. And there are safety breakers built into the what do you call it? The cartridge, the game. So if you are in full sunlight for too long at any given time, your gun, which the sun powers, will overheat. So okay, you can see the sun meter there on the bottom right. It's a little sunlight with, what is it, 8 gray bars next to it. I'm turning on the light here, and yeah, we are at 2 bars. I'm going to scoot this around a little bit. Okay, now we are at 3. So I'm going to keep the sun bar, or the sun lamp, off except when I need it, because in order to register sunlight with this thing, I have to get really close to the cartridge, and this bulb generates heat. Oh, I'm not running away. Fool. I'm just, you know, going where I'm not supposed to, because that's how you play video games. Someone said, Rato said, is it intentional that you're streaming this game on the day that PAX East Retronauts came out? Because Boktai was briefly mentioned. And 5 a.m.? No, sir, it is like 5:30 p.m. I guess maybe I should have set the internal clock or something? I don't know. Anyway, someone's accusing me of cheating at Boktai. That is not the case. Alright, so I think I need the sun lamp on for this. But anyway, as I was saying, I have to put the bulb really close to the cartridge, and it gives off a lot of heat, and I don't want to melt my cartridge, or worse, melt the very expensive capture system that it's connected to. So I will be turning the sun lamp on and off as needed. Solar Boy, that sounds so insulting. Alright, so one of the big mechanics around this game is, as Otenko there, the sunflower guy, is talking about... Oh, he's explaining how the game works. But basically you have to capture vampires, then drag them back to this thing called the pile driver, and when you activate it, you will kill the vampire, but you need sunlight to activate it. So this game, you can't really, like... When I was playing it the first time, I tried to play at night, because that's when I mostly have time free, and that didn't work out so well. So there's like little crystals here, and I don't remember what they do. I think actually, if I hold up my gun, they will absorb? I don't know. Anyway, I don't need the gun right now, but basically the sunlight bar causes your gun to charge if you hold it up, and it also activates the pile driver. So the Chrononaut says, I'm picturing Jeremy playing this in a handheld with sunburnt fingers. No, actually, I did not get sunburnt fingers. I did play this outdoors, and actually this was one of the first games I wrote about as a professional journalist once I first got into games journalism back in 2003. Oh, he died. So you can shoot those little bugs. I'm trying to remember, can I kill those guys? It's been a while since I played this. I guess not. Okay. So I think it's just a stealth game. It has been a long time since I have played Boktai, as you can tell. But anyway, I had just moved to San Francisco, and I lived really close to Golden Gate Park. So I would go to Golden Gate Park in the afternoons on the weekends and play this game, sitting in the shade, watching the ducks on the pond, and it was a very pleasant experience. The world was a much happier place back then. Now we are all indoors, and I have to use a UV lamp in order to play. But even though I have, you know, this stream going on development hardware or media capture hardware, you could also do this with... I wouldn't recommend doing it on real hardware, because that's kind of... I don't know. Kind of defeats the purpose. Also, it seems really awkward to hold your game system handheld next to a sunlight the entire time, but if you have a Game Boy player, that would work. If you have a Game Boy Advance consoleizer for one of the new GBA consoleizers, if you've built one of those, you could hook up a UV lamp to it, so that'd be cool. There's lots of ways to cheat Boktai. I've also read that, you know, the graphics still look a little blown out. I've also read that, what was I going to say? Oh, that there are hacks for the ROMs. I probably should be reading this info. There are hacks for the ROMs that allow you to adjust the amount of sunlight that your system is pretending to see, your emulator is pretending to see, but I don't know. Okay, so no good options there. Alright, I probably should have played a little of this before I started recording just to kind of refamiliarize myself with it, because I'm having trouble completing a sentence while also trying to remember how to play this game. It has been so very long. Deathcrust Punk Productions wants to know, what do I grow with UV light when I'm not using it for GBA games? Sorry, I don't have a grow operation here. I think that would be legal in the state, North Carolina, but that's not really my thing. My preferred intoxicant of choice is, of course, gin. This is Gintendo. And I have a very thematic gin here. It's Tanqueray Sevilla, which is a... I don't know if they sell it in the US. I think it's a version of Tanqueray that you can only get at airports in the UK, which fortunately someone was able to pick up for me back when we were allowed to travel on airplanes. Remember those days? Like a few months ago? But it's infused with orange, and I'm having it with Fever Tree Bitter Lemon Tonic. It's very summery. You know, this is a game that is very summery. It's about the sunlight, so I've got a citrusy gin concoction here with a little slice of lime in it. So it seems very fitting and appropriate. That is not the button to use to access the menu. There we go. Get 4 to boost. Okay, so I've got a few items here that I can use in a pinch. That's good. But I shouldn't need them in this section of the game because this is... Positive Touch says I use my black light for posters when I jam to prog rock. I don't have any of those, but that's actually not a bad idea. Get some Oxymoxia or whatever. Anyway, there we go. There's a vampire here. And some bats. I gotta avoid the bats. So, you know, there was never a Metal Gear game for Game Boy Advance. I guess I gotta shoot those guys. Or maybe the coffin? Is that what I'm doing? I'm shooting the coffin? There we go. Okay, sure, why not? Probably should have read Otenko's instructions. Doesn't seem like I'm actually doing any damage to the bats, so... I guess I was supposed to drain my weapon. Anyway, so Hideo Kojima, the creator of Metal Gear, and the guy whose name I forget who directed Metal Gear Solid for Game Boy Color, put together this game for Game Boy Advance, and it kind of feels like they said, hey, what if instead of doing Metal Gear for Game Boy, or Game Boy Advance, we did Metal Gear plus Castlevania together at the same time. And that is how you end up with this game, which is extremely cool. Alright, so I don't know if I can... I'm turning on... Oh yeah, okay, so I've... even though I'm in the dank dungeons here, the dark, dank dungeons, turning on the sunlight allows me to recharge my weapon, so that's good. Anyway, so yeah, the point here is to drag this coffin, take it back to the pile driver. As you can see, the coffin occasionally gets excited about the fact that I'm dragging it, and will kind of freak out. So that happens after let go. If you set the coffin down for too long, it will start to crawl away. It'll try to escape back to the vampire's lair. And there is a stealth element to this game. Whoa! I don't know what that was. This doesn't seem like a good thing. I'm not sure why that guy is, his head is exploding and he's not getting stunned. I really should have listened to Otenko's explanation. Whoa, this is not going well. You guys are going to see me die this early in the game. Cool. That was a really small health boost. Oops. It's that jerk again. Anyway, as you can see, the vampire coffin will kind of crawl off on its own. And that's bad. You don't want that to happen. But fortunately, you can reset the room a little bit and kind of cheat. And that's good. But if you do leave the vampire coffin alone, like if you save the game and come back later, there's a real-time clock built into the game, and the coffin will cruise around on its own, which nope. It can be very annoying. Oh, I can't recharge here. Lame. Alright, so I used up some of my precious stored battery sunlight. Very sad. But yeah, if you take a break and come back, the coffin will crawl back to its lair all on its own. You do not want that. And apparently the little goblins will tell the vampire coffin to go back home, which is a cute touch. But I kind of feel like the real-time element, it's very reminiscent of the end in Metal Gear Solid 3, where you fight the sniper and there's some real-time shenanigans you can play with the game internal clock. So, you know, this was kind of a test run for that game, in a way, in a very small sense. And the little ellipses over the zombies' heads, show how soon it's going to wake up. Oh no, that guy has little bug things that are attacking me. Let me go. They're wasting my energy. So, very much a stealth game. I'm not doing so great. But in fairness, I am streaming. So, you know, what do you want? You guys aren't here for great gameplay. You're here for impossible video game shenanigans, like streaming Boktai without sunlight. Oh, I keep forgetting to let go of the coffin. That's very uncool of me. Alright, so I'm just about back to the pile driver. That is where I will need to activate the sunlight. But I think the vampire is getting a little more anxious as I get closer and closer to the pile driver. As you might expect. Alright, so we're turning on the grow lamp, if you want to call it that. And Otenko is telling me how to beat the game. Oh, right. And recharge my sun gun. That is not what it's called, but it should be called the sun gun. Alright. So I guess I gotta switch weapons here. Someone in the comments asked if Boktai has ever been reissued for anything, and the answer is no, because it has this ridiculous solar spread thing. Did I do that right? I guess I didn't. Frame, night. Oh, I see, that's what I gotta do. Okay, one down, one to go. And now I get to fight a vampire. The sun is out. Okay, so now I have to do an actual boss fight. Is that right? So unfortunately I only have 3 bars of sunlight with this lamp. If I hold the light bulb right against the cartridge I can get 4, but that seems like a really bad idea. Alright, so I guess I'm just draining this. Oh, I see what's happening here, okay. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. So basically it's a push and pull. He's trying to attack the solar piles, while I am pushing back his darkness. But at the same time, my sun gun is diminishing. Oop. There we go. Okay. Yeah, it'd be way better if I had, 8 bars here, but I don't, so do what you can. Oh, looks like I can take direct action too. That's probably a better choice. Much better. Okay. Time to charge up. So this is definitely a very gimmicky game, but it's a pretty interesting gimmick. It's unique, And of course, the whole reason for this gimmick is because when this game was first designed, Game Boy Advance screens were awful, and you had to go out and play in the sun. So I think they basically said, all right, let's take advantage of that and make people do something with that sunlight that they're using. So anyway, I beat a vampire, and I think it would be kind of sad if I had lost to this tutorial section, but anything's possible. Remember, that's not Gingo, it's Jingo. I think I deserve a celebratory drink. I also think I should turn off the sun lamp. There we go. Yeah, so a few people have mentioned today's episode of Retronauts, which if you haven't checked out, you should go to Podcatchers and find and download the latest episode of Retronauts, the podcast that I host. We did a presentation the last time I left the state, got on an airplane back when it was safe, at PAX East with Bob from Retro RGB, not Bob Mackey, but the other Bob, and Binge Edwards, and we talked about different forms of video game media and the kinds of things that video game media could be used, like physical media could be used to do. And one of those things is this, a game where it has a solar sensor built in. So you might want to listen to that episode, because I think it was a pretty fun conversation that we had in front of a bunch of people. And no one booed, and hardly anyone left in the middle of the program, so that was nice. Elliot L. says, have you tried Spring 44 Gin out of Colorado? I haven't, but please send some my way. Okay, so here's where he's telling you don't get too much sunlight, because that's cheating.
Overheat.
So there's a little element of sunlight management here. It's not that you can just play out in the sunlight the whole time. You have to avoid the sun to some degree, which I think is probably built in so that Konami didn't get sued for causing children to get skin cancer, which, not a bad choice. All right, so I am going... Oh, stop talking to me, you jerk. Okay, thank you, Moon Beauty. So if you notice, the sun gauge down at the bottom, the gun gauge, sun gun gauge, does slowly recharge if you're under sunlight, but if you hold up the gun, it charges much faster. So that's a nice little detail. So let's see, did I come from this way? I thought I came from, a different way, didn't I? Undead. It's a very ominous game. It's the city of death, the count of blood-soaked earth, etc., etc. So there were two sequels and a remake of sorts to this game. The second sequel, Boktai 2 Solar Boy Django, came out in the US in I want to say 2005, maybe it was late 2004. And then there was Boktai 3, which only ever came to Japan, did not ship in the US, which is unfortunate because it was pretty elaborate. I played a fair amount of it, probably 5 hours of it, and it seemed I don't know, Boktai 2 got kind of fussy with all the weapons you had to juggle and everything, but Boktai 3 was a lot more, I wouldn't say straightforward, but it just wasn't as finicky. So you can press against the wall Metal Gear style, because this is basically Metal Gear in all but name, and use the R shoulder button to kind of peek behind you and see what's going on in the room. And of course the zombies here are all very stupid. Anyway, Boktai 3 had a crossover with Mega Man Battle Network 2, which was kind of amusing, because one of the bosses was Shade Man from Mega Man 7, I want to say? So that was a fun little treat that we missed out on here. I did interview the... Oh, what the heck? God dang it. I interviewed the director of Boktai 3 at Tokyo Game Show and mentioned that I had played the game. It was for some other project. I can't remember. Maybe it was the sequel, the DS game. But in the middle of the interview, he stood up and shook my hand across the table and bowed deeply and said, "Thank you so much for importing this game," which was the first time I'd ever had a game developer like emphatically thank me for what I had done. Alright, so... Oh no, I just hosed myself. That was a bad idea. Welp, time to run to a different room. Okay. Man, I feel like this is really a game that requires me to pay some attention. So I guess the zombies with the purple on their shirts, like the purple dots, those are the ones that zap you with bugs if you shoot them, or if they see you. So I guess I will have to be careful about that. But oh, I want that treasure chest. Treasure chests are important. You know, I'm just gonna bluff my way through it. Oh, there we go. I got a silver thing. Hooray! I don't know what that was. Alright, let's go into the menu and see what the heck I got. Oh, look, a map! What a great idea! That's helpful. This is a very confusing game, so... Alright, a silver coin, collect them all, and dot dot dot. Okay, I guess if you're just joining this stream and you're wondering, how is this idiot playing Boktai with an emulator or some such? I do think there are emulators. There's a hack that allows you to set the sun's intensity, or what the emulator reads. But that is not what I'm using. I am using a Game Boy Advance, what is it called? A Nitro kit? No, it's not Nitro. But it's a... oh, whoops. It's a device developed by Intelligent Systems for media and developers to capture video. And it is basically a Game Boy Advance built into a device that outputs video through S-Video or composite video. And so I've got that hooked up to a FrameMeister and an Elgato and a computer, and I'm streaming here for your benefit. Which means that, you know, when I want to get some sunlight, I can flash the UV lamp toward the cartridge, and if I'm not in a cave, then I can collect sunlight. But it doesn't matter right now, so who cares? Alright, so I need to look at the map and see what the heck I'm doing. Okay, so I guess I want to go over there to that circular spot, I think, maybe. Oh, I guess he has a better line of sight than I realized. Yeah, I'm not so great at this game. It's been a while, and I'm very rusty. I swear to God I have finished this game, though. I actually did know at one time how to play it. I should really pay more attention to what I'm doing. Okay, let's actually use the tools at my command. There's a zombie. And another. So someone mentioned WarioWare Twisted in the chat. That is one game I don't think I would be able to play with this setup, because that requires physical contortion of the game system, and the cartridge on this capture device plugs into a like a metal frame that sits on my desk. There we go. Thanks, whoever recommended I do that. That was very kind of you. So even though this device has a real Game Boy Advance plugged into it, but that is not how it works. Like that's not where you plug the cartridge in. Where the cartridge should go, there's actually a video cable mounted, and that video cable feeds video to the well, actually, I guess it feeds video from the base with the cartridge in it to the handheld device, because you can actually play the game on the GBA that's mounted into the system. Although, you know, I'm sitting here in a fairly dark room and remembering like why no one ever played this system in dark rooms, because, good God, I cannot see anything on the screen. How did we deal with this? How did we survive? What was life like before Freckle Shack mods? Okay, Otenko is pretty chatty. He's got a lot to say. And this game kind of relies on the convention that enemies typically will turn the other way when you are stuck standing with nowhere else to go. Good night. Right on. That's gonna be handy. Okay. I thought I killed that guy. No? Okay, maybe not. So I guess I need to refill my gun. And I want to get across to the other side of that small cave. The map is a little confusing because the view is isometric and this is not, so it's like 45 degrees off from the actual game. So that solar nut I'm going to use because I need some sunlight. This you're definitely not meant to just blast your way through this game. A lot of the dungeons, I'm remembering now, take place in the dark, where you cannot get sunlight even if you have light on your solar sensor, so you have a very limited amount of ammo. Can't really be guaranteed that you're going to get solar nuts from enemies if you shoot them. Alright, that guy's coming this way. And I've taken out the guard there, the sentry. That guy is now stunned. Oh, that was a bad idea. Oh well. They're sapping my juice. Oh, a blue key works with a blue door? Imagine that. Oh, whoops. Well, that was probably not the best idea I've ever had. I'm gonna turn on the light and see if I can... Nope, no juice for me. Oh, I'm in trouble. Is that a sunlight patch? Oh, there we go. Wow, those guys are jerks. Not a fan. Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to use some of my precious life tools. and I will beat them as soon as they bother to flap into range. There we go. That's what it's all about. Chokleon says, does this game have an English option? I'm not sure what that question means because I'm reading a lot of English there on the screen. If you're asking about Otenko saying Taiyo instead of sunlight, then no, I guess not. Okay, so I beat this dungeon, but I did miss some treasure chests, and that bugs me. You can never let go of your treasure chests. Gotta watch this guy doing his thing. Alright, there we go. Zip on past. Oh, he saw me. That's lame. Okay, there's nothing down that way. I'm taking off. This dungeon is complete. I did not get a good score. So I guess I will keep repeating kind of how I've got this setup working. Basically, I am using a UV emitting black light to trick the solar sensor into thinking there's sunlight. So basically, I'm switching on the light. Here goes on, off, on, off, whenever I need sunlight. You can't use just any black light. You have to make sure that it actually emits the proper kind, I think UVA radiation. And realistically, I don't think you're going to be able to get a light bulb that emits enough energy to fill up your solar meter there all the way, because that's basically saying, hey, why not have the radiation of the sun in my home? That's not a great idea. But, as long as you have 2 or 3 bars, I guess, then you can manage. It's a little slower to fill up your weapons and stuff, makes the bosses a little harder, but it definitely beats playing indoors and not having any sunlight at all, which is how I played a lot of this the first time through. So I guess I need to duck here, and hide, so those guys will go past. Yeah, I've played Metal Gear before. Chat102 says, is there any benefit to streaming your current setup over using the GBA consolizer? No. The one benefit that I get from doing this setup this way, using expensive development capture equipment, is that it outputs to analog video, so I can use it on a CRT, and it looks very, very nice. But that's not necessary. I think he can see me, can't he? Is it covering my head? Oh, I guess it is. I'm hidden away here. But yeah, if you're not like some weirdo who says, "Oh, I need CRT televisions," then yeah, use a GBA consolizer. They're great. I don't know exactly where you go to buy them, but a dude named Woozle64 created them and sells them. There's a certain amount of assembly involved. I have one that is currently being put together for me because I have zero technical knowledge. But I highly recommend it. I did a stream, man, like last May, nearly a year ago. That was my last stream where I played some games on GBA Consolizer, so you can kind of check it out in action. It's a great little device. But me, I love those scan lines, so what can you do? Jason Brimblecombe says, do you have any buyer's remorse on your retro purchases, Jeremy? No, because this is my business. This is my work. This is what I'm doing for a living, kind of, to a degree. So, no. It makes my work better. It makes my work more enjoyable to create, so I am okay with that. If this were not how I made money, then yeah, I wouldn't be investing so much in here. But, it kind of feeds itself. I have weird obsessions, and I've figured out how to monetize those to a degree, so it's all good. Plus, I don't know, playing this game on a CRT, this is the first time I've done this, it's so nice compared to playing it on the dim GBA screen that I used. I mean, I had a GBA SP by the time this came out, but still, it's not the ideal situation. Tiny little screen, side lit, nah. This is the good stuff. Someone asked if I have the links for the UV emitter. I don't, but it's I got it from like an online hardware store. Just look for a bulb that emits UVA radiation. That's what you need. There will be like black lights, quote unquote black lights, LED black lights, that sort of thing, that are basically just lights that glow purple. That's not what you want, because those are just emitting white light, and the Boktai sensor does not respond to just plain white light. You need ultraviolet. So you have to be careful when you go hunting for one of these. I've made that mistake, but there are places where you can buy, I think it needs to be incandescent. So look for an incandescent black light bulb that emits UVA radiation, and you should be good to go. They won't cost you a whole lot either. At this point, I'm sure the game itself is much more expensive than the light bulbs. I actually don't know how much this game goes for, but because it can't be emulated and because it has the Hideo Kojima legacy attached to it, I imagine it's probably getting up there a little bit in price. It's not one you can just, pirate. You can't get a $2 jobby from Alibaba and call it a day, because it has to have the solar sensor built into it. Okay, so I'm just about done with this dungeon. Someone said Mr. supports the solar sensor. So if you haven't used or heard of the Mr. FPGA open source console, that's a great option. I haven't explored the GBA aspect of that, and I don't know anything about its support for the solar sensor, but if that's true, that's a really great way to get a hold of an extremely flexible device, and it would be a pretty cool way to play this. And Misters can be updated. There we go. Misters can be modded to use both HDMI and analog video out. So I highly recommend that. Alright, so there is... Oh, I guess I should move out of the way of the sword. Yes. Oh man, it's like the sword in the cathedral in Symphony of the Night. Killed your little baby swords, now what are you going to do? Oh, you're going to slap me with your broadside. Okay, that makes sense. It's a good thing this thing isn't hitting me very hard, because I am playing like crap. Alright, just about got it done. There we go. Is it really a Kojima game if Drebin doesn't call you in the middle of a battle to tell you the tragic backstory of the sword? Alright, so I can modify my gun a little bit. Oh, okay. So this lets me add juice to the solar station, which is like that little sunlight ATM that I drained energy from before. But I think I'm going to stick with the Soul 1. And I don't need the sunlight on, so we're good to go. There's undead that way. undead to the right of me, undead to the left, and I'm stuck here in the middle with Otenko. So this is basically just like a dungeon combat game. There's a little bit of a story to it, a little bit of RPG elements, but yeah, it's pretty much just fight your way through dungeons, collect stuff, sneak around, and kill vampires. And watch out for rolling golems. I guess that's not the way to handle a golem. Okay, we're going to try this again. Oh no, I did do some damage to it. Alright. Take that, buddy. Oops. Now the other one's coming after me. Not the best idea I've had. Fortunately, they seem to be crafted from the same brilliant material, genetic material, as a genome soldier. That puddle right there is going to create noise if I splash through it, so I'm not going to do that. You know, there aren't... I don't know if there's really a system that could do this game again without actually having a separate peripheral. Even though Switch uses cartridges, those are contained inside the system with a flap. So you wouldn't be able to have the little solar extension that the Boktai cartridge does. So this was really kind of a one-of-a-kind, you know, once-in-a-lifetime sort of affair. I guess 3 times in a lifetime, since there were 3 games. But, you know, when they released the spin-off Lunar Nights for DS, that did not have a solar sensor element, and I feel like something was lost there. It was a good game, but it just didn't have that sort of unique hook that made this game so interesting. Like, the shenanigans I had to pull to play this game really helped make it memorable. I know I've told this story before, probably on Retronauts, but the first time I beat this game, I think I might have told this on the podcast that is up today. The first time I beat this game, I was playing it right at sunset, and I was sitting in the living room in front of the window, which faced west, and the sun was going down behind the apartment opposite us. And so I was literally racing to defeat the game while standing and holding my system higher and higher to stay within the sunlight. And I did manage to beat the count, but I did not manage to pull off the little final maneuver you have to do in time. There's like a way to get a best ending by doing some very quick timed event with sunlight at the very end of the battle. So even though I won the game, I didn't beat it as effectively as I could have. Very tragic. Oh, he saw me. I wish I could see their cones of vision. These guys look like Ben Grimm. It is clobbering time. Carlzor in the stream chat says the Switch may have a UV sensor built in for adjusting the backlight. I don't know if that's true. I think it's just a light sensor, isn't it? I would be very surprised if they built in a UV sensor, but you never know. Anything's possible. This area is very difficult. I'm kind of having a hard time getting a read on how these dudes move. Whoa, that's not the secret. Okay, good times. Alright, so yeah, this game is very much about just standing and watching dudes, because it's a stealth game. That's why we do Gintendo, so I can have something to drink while watching these idiots follow their little pre-scripted patterns. There we go. Okay, I made it through. So let's see what that does. That's the frame. Ah, I see, okay. Forgot about the ratings. Ah, the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. Oh, that did not work out so well. Oh, I see. That's what the spear frame is all about. Zapping those dudes in 2 shots. Hello. Alright, I am a fan of this new weapon frame. And since I'm out in the open, that's right, I don't have to worry about rationing my ammo. So I'm trying to remember how to activate these little sparkly things. I thought you shot... Yeah, okay, so you shoot them, and they give you life. That's good. Okay. Suck it, Grim. Let's look at the map, see where I'm going. Okay, I've been over there. Did I miss something? Was there something that I should have done over here? Maybe gone up the hill? No. Which room is this? So it says there is an exit, but I do not see an exit. How mysterious. Oh, it's up there. Okay, got it. Positive Touch says this game had a bonus dungeon that you could only beat by swapping data with other players. I did not know about that. I have to admit I never tried that. Mainly because I didn't know anyone else who had Boktai or cared. Okay, so there's 2 ways to go here. Anyway, this stream is kind of getting I don't like to stream much longer than an hour, so we're getting kind of toward the end, but if you have just tuned in, I'm Jeremy Parrish. I work at Limited Run Games, co-host the Retronauts podcast, etc., etc. This is not really associated with either one of those things. This is just my stream. Gintendo. I think people have been asking for me to get back into streaming because these are tense times and people need sleep aids so they can go to bed more easily, and that's what my voice is here for. It is here to make you sleepy. But I'm playing Konami's Boktai, co-developed by Hideo Kojima and the director of Metal Gear Solid for Game Boy, whose name I forget. And it's a pretty cool little Game Boy Advance game made to take advantage of the fact that people had to play GBA in the sunlight because the original screens on the original system were so absolutely crappy. And so this game has a UV sensor built into it, and I'm using a UV black light, and I can turn it on and basically pretend that I'm outdoors, even though, of course, no one is allowed outdoors these days because we're all under lockdown. So it looks like I'm moving on to a new area. Oh, it's a trap. But a fairly straightforward trap. Probably one worth me turning on the light for. I am just spamming bullets at these guys. Fortunately, it hits them pretty hard, so that was not too challenging. Oh, I'm not actually. Sorry, I think I might have made people misunderstand. I'm not actually quitting the the stream just yet. I'm going to run for another, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes or so. Just letting you know that it's going to wind down soon. Just kind of wanted to give a little bit of a station break announcement to people who have just joined. But yeah, this is a gimmick stream. I'm all about those. I have a few more gimmick streams in mind, but this is one I've been wanting to do for a long time, actually. I was talking earlier about how you have to buy very specific time, or a very specific type of light bulb in order to work with this, the game cartridge. And I was looking at my receipts, and 4 years ago, almost like 3.5, 4 years ago, I bought some black lights that were actually not. So it's been that long that I've been meaning to get around to streaming this game or recording this game. I wasn't even streaming back then. Recording this game with a blacklight setup, and it's only now that I'm finally doing it. Because we're all stuck inside, what else am I going to do? Alright, so there is the pile driver. So there's a thing that I found on the ground. Alright, Solar Boy Jingo. Let's see what that new frame does for you. Or new lens. Uses no energy, but... So if I remember right, this one you can use to zap those little bugs. And that's pretty much all it's for. Yeah, there we go. So it's a great way to refill your energy when you are playing at night. It's all coming back to me. Wow. That lens or frame shoots zombies dead.
Ortenko.
The Chronona says, you have your receipts from 4 years ago. I feel so adult. No, it's an email receipt from an online order. Those emails, they just never go away. They're always here to haunt you. And wasn't GBA capable of transparencies? What is it doing with this dithered detail? I feel like they could have done better than this. I imagine this is the dithering, the ring around me, is going to look terrible on the stream. I can't imagine that's going to transmit and compress well. Hey, it's a Game Boy Advance game. Here's some Sokoban. That's right. Sokoban. Joseph Priest said, are your eyeballs hurting from the black light? No, because the black light is in a desk lamp that has a shield around it, so that's blocking it from my face. It's actually pointing away from me, and I'm only leaving the black light on when I need it. So I am not damaging my eyes to play this video game. You'll be happy to know. Oh, let's see. Now you can see how terrible I am at Sokoban. I guess this is early enough in the game that the push block puzzles are not going to be too tough. Alright, so... I got my key. And... Is this a lamp? It is a lamp. Someone just said, I thought you were playing it on a Genesis. This does have a very, excuse me, Genesis look to it. but no. This is a Nintendo piece of technology, my friend.
Oh, Tango.
It's teaching me the basics. I've been playing out of order. I've been using these techniques without regard for the proper order of tutorials. Take that, Otenko. Someone said I'm wearing pajamas. That is not correct. That is not how I am dealing with the pandemic. I am dealing with the pandemic by exercising, showering, and wearing real clothes every day. Otherwise, I start to feel really out of sorts. Ah, look at that. Oh, it's another block pushing puzzle. Alright, so what I'm going to need to do is push this over here, that over there. Saffron Sadel said, Jeremy, if you don't mind my asking, I've been really curious how you ended up getting hired on to Limited Run and what your job is there. My job is the media guy, so I've been blogging, I'm putting together books and other things, doing some content that's going to go in the games and some of the CEs, writing, say, Criterion Collection style essays and things like that. As for how I got the job, well, it helps that I live in the same city as Limited Run Games, but I just have, crossed paths with Josh and Douglas several times through the years. I've had them on podcasts, and it just, they said, hey, you do stuff that we would like for you to do, so why don't you come do it with us? And I said, that sounds phenomenal. So that's how that happened. So, right place, right time, right skill sets. Oh, look at that! Secret spider webs. I guess that's what the lunar frame is for. Boy, this is like Animal Crossing. Freaking tarantulas, man. Convenient of this vampire to put signage around his house. Okay, well, I'm not a fan of the spiders, but I'm going to dive back into this room anyway because I want a treasure chest. That's right. Precious solar fruit. So, anyway, I don't think I'm going to beat this immortal dungeon before I'm finished streaming. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. That looks like a floor that will create noise, so I'm going to avoid it. This is a pretty big mansion. So I think I could drain my... Oops. I could drain my solar gun here and feed the juice. No? What did I just do? I'm not sure what I just did. Oh, it's probably a mistake to, what the heck? Okay. I don't know. I'm not sure what I just did. It has been a while since I played this game, as I've mentioned before. Like, 15 years. It's been a long time. Now that is a... Oh, what? How did he hear me? not a fan of those mummies. I guess take the brute force approach. There we go. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Oh, Tango.
Oh, frickin' mummy. There we go. Alright, I am smarter than a thing that's been dead for 1,000 years. Congratulations to me. Wow, this is a very difficult to read map. Not a fan. This is like Mega Man ZX all over again. Entrance and courtyard. Samuel Messner says, I seem to recall you tweeting that I did an interview about Moon last year. Will I turn that into something? Yes, eventually. I have a blog about Blackbird, an interview with Yoshiro Kimura that's going up later this week, actually. So it's not Moon. Oh, whoops, that was pretty bright of me. Blackbird is not Moon, but it is still Kimura, so you might enjoy that. Ah, stupid mummy. Step on the panel, you fool. There you go. Alright. Hey, I don't want those things. Oh, you jerks! Okay, let's see what's this way. So this is a courtyard, which means I'm outside, which means I can juice up. That's right. Okay. Well, anyway, I feel like this dungeon could go on for a while. Oh yeah, there's like a puzzle here. I don't know about this. Numbers according to the sum. No. What is the sum? Okay, yeah, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do in this puzzle here. I need to go search around for a clue. So I think this is a pretty good place to stop this stream. But it was fun. I haven't done one of these in, like I said, like a year or so. So thanks everyone who watched, stuck around with me, and saw me basically break science to my will and cheat the hell out of this video game. But hope you enjoyed the stream. I'm going to try to do these things on a more regular basis. I think if everything goes to plan, I should have a very cool stream next week, not entirely unrelated to this one. So maybe this is a good time, like Monday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Try to do this as a regular thing. So yeah, check back then. And otherwise, I will have a video on Trip World up on Wednesday here on this channel. Or no, sorry, Mega Man. Trip World is next week. A blog at Limited Run Games on Wednesday. Retronauts is up today. There'll be a Limited Run podcast over the weekend. So I'm creating content all over the place. There's no escape for me, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. But thanks again for joining me, and I'll be back again soon.